you're right about the rushing numbers. Now, he had 2 bomb diggity games. 14 carries for $170. I think that was in 2018. And 22 carries for $189. He had 4 catches for 90 yards in that game, too. All right. So he's had 2.
Destroyed us in 2
Destroyed.
games.
Bombed. But for the most part, the other, 5 games, he rushed for 38 yards, 57, 30, 63, and 87. So he had a good game in
That's
that
a decent
last
one for sure.
Because he had 87 rushing yards and 33
He's
receiving.
killed us in 2 out of 7.
So basically, I was going to say basically half the games, Washington's done a pretty good job against him in the run. Now, the problem is in the overall records of those games, Washington is 3-6-1.
Well, but what? So take out the 3 he wasn't in, though.
I'd have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
So the last 10 that they've played, he did miss 3. They're 3-6-1 against New York since he was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you're right for the most part. I mean, take out those 2 great games that he had, they've kind of contained him and hadn't allowed a 100-yard game.
Why can't we do the same thing that we did with Atlanta, right? So you stop the run, and including Daniel Jones. That's the key.
And make him throw and beat you?
And make Daniel Jones beat you with his arm. If he does, then you tip your cap and you say, good win.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you would think that that's what you would do.
I would think we would see a lot of similar things.
I mean, look, the last year, they scored a total of 40 points in 2 games, so 2020, right?
Is that
the year before that, Washington swept them.
Valdez, is that a crazy thought? Don't you think you could employ kind of the same defensive philosophy that you did against Atlanta versus the Giants, assuming Daniel Jones is there? You stop Barkley just like you had to stop Bijan. And then, now Ritter doesn't really run, though. I guess that's the difference.
Yeah, I was going to say, because New York could do the design run plays, which they probably did a lot with Jones.
Can you stop Barkley and Jones? That's been the problem. See, Jones is the one that's killed us. If you ask me who's killed us more in the last 3 or 4 years, Barkley or Jones, it's been Jones more often.
Last year, not so much.
In the last 3 years, yes, because those bomb games that Barkley had were when I think Eli Manning was still the quarterback. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I'd have to go back and look at the game logs for Daniel Jones.
Right. I don't know. I think we would employ a lot of the same things. And maybe that's why Jack, his defenses get better as the season progresses, because he sees what works week to week, and he starts implementing pieces of all of those games. Makes adjustments as the season goes along. Right. So I would think you would see a lot of, even if it's not the exact same game plan, you'd see a lot of the things that worked well last week implemented this week.
And look, personnel changes. I get it. In 2019, Daniel Jones, in a 24-3 win, was 23 of 31 for 225, threw a couple picks, but he ran for 33 yards in that game. That was the first game he's ever played against him. The second game, he was 28 for 42, 5 touchdowns.
Right.
So he killed you in the past there. That was a 41-35 win.
Right, but he just doesn't do that.
He doesn't do that much, right?
So if he does that, then whatever.
The next game he played in 2020, he was 12 for 19 for about.
I feel like he had at least 1 or 2 big rushing games against him, though.
All right, but he hasn't yet. And then the second game in 2020, he was 23 for 34 with a touchdown. He only ran for 28 yards. So the first 4 games he played, he kind of did it through the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, but still, I challenge him.
He's capable. What I would really look at is last year. And last year they played him twice. Obviously, the Giants won one, and there was a tie. Both were pretty low-scoring games. They kept Barkley under control in both games, and Jones was fair.
He threw the ball over 30 times in both games last year. So that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're making him throw.
Right. I think.
Just in terms of the stats.
But they have to also contain the running element of him.
I hear you.
And I know that's difficult. I did. I
assume he's going to go.
I did Grant and Danny show yesterday, and I guess Danny was out sick, and Grant called me, and I wasn't a very good guest because he was asking me certain questions, and I was just kind of rambling. But one question he asked me was how upset I would be if Emanuel Forbes doesn't play again this week, and my honest answer is I don't really care. Like, I think he's going to be fine long term. I just want to win.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't need to force him to learn on the job this week. Like, they're not going to give up on a first-round pick. He's going to get plenty of opportunities. Personally, I think that my guess is that the approach I would take is slowly re-implement him into the defense. You know, it's not like all or nothing. Like, maybe he plays 10 snaps.
Have the Giants been this bad at any point in the last few years when they play Washington that week?
I don't know. Has their record been this bad?
I can't imagine. I mean, it kind of depends on when they're playing them.
Before they hired Dable? Who was the coach before Dable? Who was it right before Dable?
Joe Judge.
Was it Judge?
They weren't great. Check. They weren't great under Joe Judge. That didn't go well.
I mean, they drafted Saquon number 2 overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was quite a while ago.
That was 2018, though.
But, like, in the last couple years.
I'd have to go back and look at that.
Yes, Joe Judge.
What was
before
Judge's
him
record?
Was Pat Shurmur. Oh, he had a brutal record.
Yeah, Shurmur wasn't good either. Shurmur won, like, 5 games maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Joe Judge was 6-10 his first season and 4-13 his second season. So a total of 10-23.
Right. So they've kind of been in that realm, and
they've been worse than the Commanders.
And we've still struggled.
That's what I mean. But I don't know if they've been this bad where they're pretty much dead last in scoring.
No, they're not even scoring 12 points a game.
So, yeah, I mean, if they get in the 20s, that's not good.
They had a chance to win against the Bills. And we saw what the Bills did against the Commanders. I was most impressed by the Giants' defense.
Yeah, but I'm buying Valdez's theory. They were jet lagged. They're probably sleeping on the Giants a little bit. Trap game, right? And just whatever.
You basically lost 2 days with travel. So.
Yeah. So I'm buying that theory.
Thinking about taking 2 practices away from a team that's prepping for an NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of reading into that.
I like it. And also, I think maybe it might affect like your recovery, all of that, whatever you do, your massages and your treatments and, whatever you're doing.
It probably affects, certain teams differently, but you're right. I mean, I don't know. This is just a game where I think Washington wins this game. I think it's going to be ugly.
Oh, so you flipped. Because I think yesterday you were going to pick the Giants.
Did I on record? Did I say the Giants are going to win?
I think
it's going to be an ugly lower.
You always take the road. You always think it's hard to win on the road.
Well, he took the Falcons.
It is hard.
Yeah.
I just look at the numbers and they're just so bad offensively. Now Barkley could go off. He could run for $130 and a touchdown or a couple touchdowns, but Jones obviously isn't 100%. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants won. Neither would you.
No, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be disappointed.
Sure.
In other words, when we lost to the Bills and the Eagles, even the Eagles game, I guess I was mildly disappointed, but I knew they were going to lose it. The game that crushed my soul was the Chicago game.
Sure.
This game would rival that in a lot of ways because I don't think they're very good.
I'm going to wait until Friday, but I might pick the Giants. I could see this. If they're the same old Skins, which it kind of feels like, it's a game that they lose. They're just an up and down team, a 500-ish team.
Yeah, but isn't this when Ron goes on his run?
Sometimes. But he always ends up right around the same, around 500.
Plenty of other games he's going to lose coming up.
If they lose to, at the time, a winless Bears team and then a one-win Giant team,
that's not going to be good.
That's when I would probably just say, cut it. Now you got to go. You can't lose to a winless team and a one-win team.
Well, you've also been saying you thought Harris would wait until the end of the year.
I think he would, but I would. If I was Harris, I would cut him.
But you were giving him the Falcons game because we were ready to whack him before the Falcons game.
I just think those would be 2 embarrassing losses based on how those teams are playing now.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you go on the road. San Francisco probably thought they're going to beat Cleveland.
I feel like it's a toss-up, man. It's a division game. We saw what happened in the Eagles game. The Eagles are a superior team to the Washington Commanders, and that was a toss-up game. These teams know each other. They played 2 close games last year, including a tie. It just feels like it's going to be one of those games. Do you want to go in favor of the Commanders? Sure. I don't know. I want to see what the weather's doing. I want to see who's starting. We don't know yet, right?
No.
Kind of expect it to be Daniel Jones, but it could be Tyrod Taylor.
But you said he wasn't on the injury report?
I didn't see him on the ESPN injury report.
I got to think he's still on.
So I assume that's accurate. It was as of the 17th.
I mean, if he practices today with the ones, and then obviously he's probably going.
Yeah.
But the rest of the NFC is just so. Like I said, you might be able to get in as a 7th wild card, with 8 wins this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dallas is going to be in no matter what. But look, Washington has more wins than Green Bay, Minnesota, equal with Atlanta, who you have the head-to-head against, equal with New Orleans, equal with the Seahawks and the Rams. I mean, somehow you got to find 3 wild cards out of those teams.
What I see from Daniel Jones, and this is an article that is a day old, is he said, I'm trying hard to get back, still dealing with it a little bit, but trying to do everything I can to heal up
What's
and
his
prove to the
injury
doctors
again?
and trainers that I'm ready to go.
A neck?
It's a neck injury, and they might not mess with that.
I don't even know.
So you might see Taylor.
I don't even know who I prefer. I mean, I think Taylor's competent, certainly, but I don't think he's a world beater. You know what? I think I'd rather play Taylor.
Right.
If I'm a Skids fan, I think I'm crazy. I think I want to face Taylor because Jones has been a killer.
Jones has beaten you.
Yeah. I think I want Taylor.
Both of them are capable.
Both are capable.
Daniel Jones has a little more upside.
But Taylor, does he run?
Bad.
Does Tyrod Taylor run? He can.
A little bit.
But he doesn't run a lot, right?
Not as much as Jones.
Not as much as Jones.
But you haven't seen him. I mean, you haven't seen Taylor as a starter in a while.
Right.
But
well, all I know is I'm picking us, but this is one of those games where I will be anxious the whole time. Like, I'll be emotionally invested in this one because this is a game I want to win.
Unless they can get another early lead.
Washington
I still get nervous.
Washington has scored 62 points more than the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I get it. Saquon was out for most of those games, but 62. It's a lot.